Hello and welcome back to another edition of The Bottom Line, where we take one topic and build a conversation by bringing in various voices, and we try to help determine the bottom line. Today our topic is e-cigarette use, such as popular brands like Juul, which was recently rated by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. I'm your host, Hannah Zettel. I'll be joined today by Alfonso Cerna, live on the State's Quad, and he'll bring you Campus Voices. I'll also be joined by Ashley Carter, live in our Social Media Analytics Command Center, the SMAC Lab, to bring in statistics, trends, and what people have to say on social media regarding e-cigs. Also in today's show, we'll take another look at how the state of Illinois is presenting this issue to the federal government. We'll also bring in a panel of student journalists to get their perspective. And we'll finish out by sharing some of your thoughts and opinions. But first, let's get some background on vaping and e-cigarette use. What was created as a convenient way for cigarette users to quit the addictive habit has turned into an addiction itself in the lives of teens and young adults, so much so that the FDA has recently stepped in.
Kiwi, cinnamon, blue raspberry, cotton candy. All sweet flavors, but it's not candy. It's nicotine juice made for e-cigarettes and vape devices. E-cigs were created to help smokers kick the lung-endangering habit, but recent marketing practices from companies such as Juul Labs have sparked the debate regarding what demographic their ads truly target. Shaped similarly to a USB stick, Juul pens do not have the carcinogens that real tobacco cigarettes have. However, they still contain high levels of nicotine, which is addictive and could prove detrimental to a developing teen brain. Although the legal age to purchase e-cigs in the U.S. is 18, underage children continue to account for an estimated 3 million e-cig users, up 75% from last year. Other concerns related to e-cig use include a condition known as popcorn lung, which damages small airways in the lung after continued ingestion of a chemical, diacetyl, often found in e-cigarette juice. Earlier this month, the FDA seized more than 1,000 documents from Juul during a surprise inspection at the vape company's headquarters. According to the New York Times, Juul Labs alone controls 72% of the U.S. e-cigarette industry. Sweet flavors and social media promotion of vape tricks might be to blame for the increase, which has prompted the FDA to consider pulling e-cigarettes off shelves entirely in the U.S., which would become the 28th nation to ban these devices. Juul Labs and 4 other e-cig companies have a 60-day time frame to produce plans that will limit underage consumption.
So with that background in mind, let's find out what Illinois State students are saying about e-cigs. We now go to the Bottom Line's Alfonso Cerna, who's reporting live on campus. Alfonso.
Thank you, Hannah. Among the biggest users of Juuls and other vaping devices includes the younger generation, with kids nowadays having access to more flavors each and every day. Today I went around campus and asked some people why they think kids are getting so hooked.
Well, I think the companies are making it so that there's different flavors so kids are getting addicted, because to them they think it's like a cool thing and they're like, oh, it's not smoking cigarettes, so it's okay and they're fun flavors, so why not?
I think to have like that level of choice, and for companies to kind of make it appealing by saying you can have what you want, and because we live in kind of a society now where you can have whatever you want in any combination you want, so they're kind of appealing to that mindset of this is what I want, and I want it right now, so I can have that.
Well, I feel like if you didn't have a flavor, then you wouldn't want to do it because it's like it doesn't taste good. But since there's like flavors, and there's like different flavors, it gives you more variety to pick from. So that it appeals to people, so they can pick any flavor they want, and then they just keep trying new stuff, and it makes them want to do it more and more and more.
Probably because of the new technology, and they made these flavors taste really well. So yeah.
It's easy to compare it to what you have at home. Sweets and desserts and everything that you love as a young child is now a flavor of a sweet-tasting cigarette. So yeah, easy targeting right there.
Probably because they taste like candy. They taste sweet. They don't taste like cigarettes. So why not?
I'll be back later to see what else people had to say on juuling and vaping. Back to you in the studio, Hannah.
Thanks, Alfonso. And now let's add more voices to the conversation, voices on social media. And for that, we head up to the SMAC, where Ashley Carter is ready to fill us in. Ashley, what did you find? Welcome back to The Bottom Line. I'm Hannah Zettel, and today we're listening to different voices on the topic of Juul and e-cigarette use in teens and young adults. We'll be hearing again from Ashley Carter on what's trending on social media in just a few minutes. But first, let's take a look at how this issue is impacting the state. In May of this year, Senate Minority Whip Dick Durbin took statewide concerns to the Senate floor. Durbin presented the uprise in young Illinoisans' e-cigarette addiction, specifically at the high school level. Take a look.
In my state of Illinois, 27% of high school students are using vaping devices and e-cigarettes. I've talked to Dr. Gottlieb about this. When we confront the industry, they say, no, this is about getting people off of cigarettes onto vaping, which is not as dangerous. Well, that might make sense. Maybe that argument might have some merit until we look at the products that are for sale. Let me show you some of those products for the record. The difficulty we have is that these are becoming so pervasive, so insidious, so fast, that when the FDA says we'll get around to this in 4 or 5 years, we don't have the time, Mr. Secretary. We don't have the time. We need to commit ourselves now to stop this. This is a galloping addiction and one that is affecting children across our country. My obvious question to you is, what's this administration going to do?
And has been vocal for years about his disapproval of electronic cigarettes as a whole. And now we bring it back to Ashley Carter live in the smack to chime in more social media voices. Ashley Carter, thanks for that. It's time for you to add your voice to this conversation. What do you think about today's topic? Post on our Facebook page by searching TV10 Bottom Line or tweet us at TV10 Bottom Line to share some of your own thoughts. After the break, we'll hear how student media at ISU is covering this topic with our Media Roundtable. And we'll add more campus voices to the conversation as well. Stay with us. Now, another voice on ISU's campus is our student media, and today I'm joined by John Murray, WZND News Director. Hi, John, how are you today?
Oh, great to be here, Hannah.
Good. So, e-cigarettes, it's kind of a divided topic. There's people who like it, there's people who don't. I'm sure we both know people on either side. So, how would you cover this topic at ZND?
Yeah, well, personally, just speaking from my own experience, I've heard lots of people with various views on the topic. Some people say, oh, it doesn't hurt you, oh, you can't get addicted to this, you can't get addicted to that, whether it's e-cigs or vaping or whatnot. So as far as the news department at the radio station, we have actually done an investigative show on this whole topic of e-cigarettes, regular cigarettes even, and vaping and whatnot, kind of diving deeper into if they are dangerous, how dangerous they are, comparing them and whatnot. And we definitely discovered that if it has nicotine, there is the possibility that you can get addicted, and that it's something that just people should stay away from in general. That's what we would always encourage as a whole organization, and we run all sorts of PSA commercials and what to advising against that.
Right, and so when we are dealing with a topic that affects like minors and young kids, that's pretty sensitive. So do you cover it the same kind of way?
We try to be extra sensitive with things like that because, as you mentioned, it does impact minors and people under 21, under 18. And we just try to encourage to be safe, to be smart and healthy. And whether it's inhaling or smoking or electronically smoking or whatnot, things of that nature with nicotine where you could get addicted, we wouldn't encourage that because it's just dangerous.
Right, I agree. So we've seen this topic covered a lot nationally. I know CBS just did a piece on it. How about locally? Do you think we're covering electronic cigarettes enough at the local level?
So the last time we did the investigative show called Bird's Eye View on the topic, that was about a year to a year and a half ago. I personally think we could cover it a bit more. As a radio station as a whole, we, aside from the commercials, we could just do a little more investigating or feature type reporting on it. So that's what I would try to push.
Right, thank you. John Murray from WZND, thanks for being with us today. And we have just a little bit longer for you to add your voice to the conversation. What do you think about today's topic? Share your opinions, thoughts, attitudes by tweeting us at TV10 Bottom Line. And as always, post on our Facebook page. Just search TV10 Bottom Line to add your own voice to this conversation. We'll be right back to wrap up this week's edition of The Bottom Line right after this. You know, one thing about e-cigarettes that experts have been looking into lately is the unprecedented consumer growth rate. That topic will be discussed on November 15th in London at the E-Cigarette Summit, where scientists, regulators, and public health practitioners will discuss and debate the latest issues and discoveries surrounding e-cigs. Discussion from last year's summit is up on their website now. And if you can't make it overseas for the e-cig summit, you might be interested in the 2016 documentary A Billion Lives. This is a film by documentarian Aaron Biebert, who had heard information from supporters and critics on the vape issue and set out to find the truth. The film is available at abillionlives.com. Well, all throughout today's show, we've been asking you to share your voice with us. Keep this conversation going. Feel free to tweet us or post on our Facebook page. Thank you to those who shared their voices today. And finally, it's time for our bottom line. Much like wearing a nicotine patch or chewing nicotine gum, e-cigarettes and other vape devices were originally made to help people gradually wean off nicotine and quit smoking. However, marketing practices of companies such as Juul have been called into question after candy-like vapor flavors appear to be targeting teenagers and developing a generation of nicotine addicts. Last week's series of documents from Juul make it clear that the FDA is considering a ban on flavored electronic cigarettes, as the demographic using them might have the wrong intentions. And that's all we have for this edition of The Bottom Line. Thanks again to Alfonso Cerna and Ashley Carter, our reporters this week. Also to our student media member, John Murray. Tune in again next week at 12:30 right here on The Bottom Line. Have a great day.